Alright, we've got 3 packages here. That one does not feel like it's being very nice. Well, as long as I can get my fingers in there, yeah, I can force it open. This looks like a hentai. It is absolutely not for children. That's a Fleshdance Encore edition. 2 episodes and 1 episode of something else. Strange. But, you know, I'm just collecting all the things, so I guess it was inevitable that another one would eventually come. Meanwhile, this is being pretty effing tenacious. That'll do it. Oh, yes, this makes sense. So this official order from that got canceled by Amazon, and so I ordered one from a reseller to it. I hope it's a real thing. And then we've got more stuff, and I'm just moving this out of the way. So, at the top here we have To Love to Darkness 2, the complete collection, New English Dub Edition. I do not know anything about the extended Deviluch family, only that it is extended, and then there's that one scene with the blue popsicle. Anyways, there's Golden Darkness, of course. You can see here, English dub. No, that's not unexpected. Region A, all 14 episodes on 2 discs. And, you know, 2 discs. Trying to think if got commentary, but I don't know. Fatal Fury, the OVA collection on Blu-ray. I do think this has been released on DVD in the past, so this is you know, this is Eastern Star Discotheque, catching up on stuff. Oh, very nice. You know, even though they're kind of similar sort of imagery, it's still nice when the inside's different. You got your 1 disc, and you got your choice if you want the inside to be the same as the sleeve. Cool beans. Next up we have 10 Tokyo Warriors, the final battle, which has a pretty tenacious thing. Come on. I don't know why I was having so much trouble just picking this stupid thing up. It kind of didn't want to come as much as this plastic didn't want to come off. Let's see. So, first time on Blu-ray. I got the general impression that what was released as 10 Tokyo Warriors before might have included 10 Tokyo Warriors and 10 Tokyo Warriors the final battle, so I think this is, again, first time on Blu-ray. Oh, actually, I wanted to take a quick peek at this, just to make sure, because it feels like some of the cheaper Media Blaster packaging, which is usually associated with Burn on Demand, and I don't know if this one is or not. I'll be honest, I'm having trouble fully reading this. Oh well, I wanted to see if I could verify for certain what all is on there, but you know, I didn't do any pre-research for today's video. Just let's see, The Darkest Nightmare. Case closed. 1. Truth prevails. This is good. There may be a lot more case closed stuff that they'll bring to us. Although that said, the series has been running long enough that I do feel a little wary thinking about trying to watch it myself. Can you forget your past no matter how dark it is? And this looks like there's an English dub and as well as Japanese audio. I think they did that last time. Detective Conan. Interesting. Did I miss? Oh, yeah. See, it says Detective Conan here in case closed here. Interesting. There we go. Next up, we have Braiger. Series. This is Galaxy Cyclone Braiger. Braiger. It could be Braiger. Maybe the G is supposed to be hard, but I don't know. For some reason, it strikes me as not entirely English. Come on, plastic. Keep it off. Very different on the inside. Definitely some interesting, and of course it says up here 39 episodes in standard definition. That looks like audio is just Japanese. Come at light speed. There's a lot of jokes like that going on right now. Interesting curiosity. I don't know much about it, but yeah. There we go. Actually, let's go through these so that we're keeping those together. Next, we have a Super Dimension Century Orguss, which is interesting because the DVD version. I think there was a normal DVD version, but I don't 100% remember. But then it used to be that getting it on DVD used to be real hard. It used to be a expensive and rare thing. Hopefully this makes it easy for everybody who wants to get it. So, yeah. Flung into the future tomorrow. Two, three. And it probably said how many episodes it was there, but my guess is this is all of it. Nice, nice. Next up we have City Hunter 2 Set 2 on Blu-ray. Which makes me think, I probably got it on DVD a billion years ago or something. And now that Discotech's releasing everything on Blu-ray, ooh, different on the other side. Good. This is a chance for people who are waiting for it to come out on Blu-ray or something like that. Yeah, we'll do it over here. If you're curious, I always do that because the distance here is usually smaller than the distance there, so I can usually get this in with the plastic underneath this, whereas if I go the other way, sometimes this sleeve catches on the plastic. It's really annoying. And last but not least, we have Raxophone, which I think it has a reputation of being an Evangelion clone, but if it is a clone, it's a clone in the right way. I'm not sure that I specifically cared about it a whole lot. It didn't impact me, but I think it's still... Could be a good or bad thing. I don't know. I'm not I guess I need to look for evidence to make sure this is official. I'm trying to remember who was supposed to have released it. Whoa. That wants to open. You see, part of my worry is that this was listed on Amazon, but then it didn't. Since it didn't ship from Amazon, it shipped from somebody that was selling through Amazon. I guess I don't know for certain I mean, this says it's region A, although the camera has trouble focusing on it. This says Sentai. So if this isn't a legitimate, then it's definitely designed to look like one. Should probably look for ways to double check. Whoa. Stacks. Could be legit, but oof, yeah, really scary when you have to take them off that way. I wonder, can I get this disc off as well? So we can at least see some of the artwork behind. I was wondering if I saw a little miscoloration there. Obviously, I'm not 100% trusting of this. I think it's probably legitimate, but you know, it's not like I... Oh, shit. 5 discs. So it's pretty unusual for a bootleg to have 5 discs. So the real question after that is... Now, I think Sentai doesn't do multi-region releases, so... It's a good chance this is all perfectly fine. Although having trouble getting it on here, but then again, I've bought plenty of official DVDs that it's just hard to get things on and off. Well, unless any of y'all can confirm otherwise, this looks like it's legit. And here's this week's anime Blu-ray collection update, because I don't think there's any DVDs in here. Yeah, so not a lot of anime watch to talk about. Pretty much just, I never remembered the name, Yuho and Rochi's Bureau of Supernatural Investigation. So, I only watched the first 2 episodes, and since that's literally all the anime I've watched over the past week, you can kind of tell it's not been a big week for watching stuff. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. But I don't think so, because I think there was Interstellar, and I think I talked about that, and that might have been more than a week. It might have been 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. But for this, so again, I watched 2 episodes, and it didn't quite grab me. There were a couple of problems with it. It's not necessarily bad, but there are definitely things that turn me off a little bit to shows. And to give the show some credit, second episode it kind of addressed one of those flaws a little more directly. For me, the main issue is, I guess a show like this tends to kind of introduce a fantastical element, and for me, you either have to have the fantastical element being built on something that means something to me, or not. And so a show like this tends to do this thing where it just kind of has a thing, and in this case, the main... I'm trying to think, he seems to be kind of the main character. I mean, he's obviously... These two seem to be kind of the main character, but the guy with the weird-shaped head that I mentioned, I guess they're calling it an onion head in some of the episodes. Maybe only one episode that I saw. But I guess the idea is he's a supernatural lawyer, and he reads stuff from a book and charges spirits with a crime and then punishes them. So, you know, that's a thing where that's not necessarily bad in and of itself, but where the show initially kind of turned me off is it's just like, while it introduces the ghosts, it kind of introduces an idea of what the ghost is dealing with, and it's really not necessarily ghost, supernatural apparition, I guess, maybe a better terminology, or supernatural being maybe in general, but, you know, when it kind of just kind of has the real showing point of he does a thing that's not even necessarily, it doesn't feel connected, I guess.
It's just, oh, well, he just reads a law and does a thing, and some other supernatural thing handles that supernatural thing. It weakens the story for me, because it kind of feels like the focus is more on, look at this cool shiny thing we're having this character do, and less about the story per se. It feels like it gets a little in your face and not trying to storytell. And that's just a weird comparison. Maybe weird isn't the right word, but it's just kind of, it was the impression it gave me, and maybe a lot of that comes from watching this after watching Inspector, where, you know, Inspector comes up with these interesting characters and their plays on ideas. You can kind of feel like, I'm not familiar with all of them, but I've already known about the thing about mermaid flesh and things like that. So, you know, it feels like that one introduces its here's the interesting thing these characters can do as a building block of the idea of the thing that they're actually dealing with. But the main focus of the show then becomes more of its storytelling. And, you know, that's a complete contrast to this, and I guess that's what kind of turned me off of this. But like I said, the second episode fixed one of the problems, because the main problem here is they have him doing that, but they don't really make it seem like it's that much of an effort. He just reads off the crime, swipes his book, punches me, and it doesn't even matter how aggressive they make the ghost seem. You know, he just seems to not care. But episode 2 established that if he gets the crime wrong, then the punishment backfires. Now, again, that does a lot to help, because it kind of means that, okay, if they're going to go in guns a-blazing, there needs to be a little bit more to it than just whatever the writers decided to pull from their holster. Especially since it kind of feels like, you know, the general concept of, oh, you're going to charge a supernatural apparition with a supernatural crime. Well, there's sayings about how in real life you can choose the most innocent man you have, and the legal system will still find them guilty of a handful of things. The idea being that sometimes there's innocent, and then sometimes the legal system is just, it exists above the concept of should it really be doing this. I can think of examples of things like that, but, you know, let's not make it too political. The entire point is, it doesn't in and of itself feel that deep of a design decision. And I could have watched more, but as you can tell, I only watched 2 episodes, which means obviously my focus was on elsewhere. And as you probably guessed, that's Dead by Daylight. And the reason for that is pretty simple. With Dead by Daylight, I've been playing Survivor a lot more. I think I might have mentioned this last week, I don't remember. But part of it is trying to get used to playing a Survivor with a wider variety of perks, getting a better feel for the game in general. But there's the ultimate end goal of, I just need to grind for blood points, and Survivor isn't the best way to do that. Killers make mad buck. But trying to do it okay with Survivors is kind of easier. So basically, if you're going to play a round of Dead by Daylight, usually playing as Survivor is easier. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's easy, and it doesn't necessarily mean that people who play Killer are better, but it means it's a lot more obvious what you should be trying to do when you're playing as Survivor. Whereas Killer, and I kind of express this where if you're good Killer, then you're the one probably in control of the match, and you have the ability to direct it. And for some people, that's a chance to just kill as many people as possible, as quick as possible, and, you know, get a lot of blood points really, really, really fast. I say that like, you don't still get them really fast if you do it the other way. But, again, for me, I'm not a killer because I like to kill people per se. I'm a killer because I kind of realize there's this opportunity to be a killer that would be the kind of killer I would possibly enjoy playing with. And that's the way I do a lot of video game stuff, is just I like to play video games in a way that makes it fun for other people. I can get lost from that from time to time, but that's kind of one of my main motivators. I mean, my nephew wants to play Among Us, and I'm like, I'd be game for it. And one thing I would like about that is any game of Among Us played with my nephew, you know, he's still in the single digits, I think. So that pretty much means there's some easy mode playing that would be done, because the entire goal of the game would be for him to be able to have fun. For him to have fun killing people or trying to guess who people are. I'm looking forward to something like that. Whereas, you know, I definitely enjoy playing Among Us with other groups of friends, but I don't go out there playing solo Among Us. And that may raise the question, okay, why am I playing Dead by Daylight? But that's because I definitely need the blood points. So the game gives you motivation to do that in order to move ahead. But again, I like to play it from the point of view of trying to help other people have fun. And that can be really hard as Survivor, because as Survivor, again, it's much more obvious what you should be doing. You're not directing the match, generally speaking. So that kind of means that for me, in theory, the best thing I could do as Survivor is if we all manage to outwit the killer, then I sacrifice myself. I try to do that every once in a while because, you know, it's kind of a throwing them a bone, I guess. But at the end of the day, I want them to feel like that we as the survivors respect the fact that he or she, of course, you know, got outplayed, but we didn't do it because of, well, I didn't do it because of malicious intentions. I didn't think that they were necessarily a bad person. They just, you know, made wrong guesses here. Maybe they didn't quite have chases down. Maybe they just need more practice. And I think more often than not, I just get really fucking dumb lucky. But, you know, outside of me, you know, the point is, I want to make sure killers understand their respect. So that's also why I don't, like, wait at exit gates for a killer to show up, even if it's pretty safe to do so. I just leave, because at a certain point, that's my way of showing the killer respect that, you know, I'm not going to sit there and taunt them or anything like that. They played a fine game. If they didn't manage to hook any of us, then, you know, usually I kind of understand why and maybe what they need to do. And those are the kinds of people that I definitely say, all right, they haven't managed to hook anybody and they haven't managed to kill anybody, so I'll let myself be that person. So they know I'm cheering them on, telling them, keep going. You'll get better at this. But again, that conflicts with me doing what a survivor is supposed to do and whether or not that helps the team. It's thoughts. And with killer, again, you know, for me, it's, since you get the blood points really quick, especially if you use barbecue and chili, that's a killer perk. You know, pretty much means, you know, I hook everybody and then I kind of evaluate what I'm going to do from there. Sometimes one person has to die for one reason. Usually it's because a challenge them, like I have to kill the obsession using Rancor. Can't not kill a person using that, but, you know, I will tone it down and I will stop hooking people, and I will, like, I had to get the Nemesis mutation for a daily ritual, and, you know, I went in there playing my hardest with a non-leveled up Nemesis, and, you know, eventually hooked everybody. And when I started catching people for a second time and I kind of noticed they weren't struggling to get free, that's when I, you know, twitch back and forth to let them know, no, you should struggle. Because at that point, I'm picking them up so they have a chance to struggle free from me, but I'm really just going to patrol generators and just try to put pressure on them. And I'll probably stop sabotaging generators, because at that point my goal is to continue applying pressure. And that's really good for the survivors, because when the survivors manage to overcome pressure, not only do they become better players, they become more confident. You know, they can try to figure out, okay, let's try to make plays against this Nemesis who isn't killing anybody. You know, we can both chase and be in loops and kind of learn what might work, what might not work. They hopefully learn a lot, and everybody comes out of those matches with a shit ton of blood points. Well, compared to me when I play as Survivor. So, and I think I mentioned all this stuff last week, but it's still the thing that I enjoy doing. which is why there's some things I'm not going to do. Like I'm never going to get the challenge where I kill all 4 survivors in a trial by any means, because I have been in a situation where nobody escaped a trial, and it happened one time, but that's because people started disconnecting and there was just nothing to do. Even though they should have known, just keep going. I'm playing the game. I'm not going to throw it. I'm just going to make it where your challenge to overcome doesn't result in your death or immediate death. And sometimes I'll get a little bloodthirsty, but that's rare the last couple of weeks. Especially since, again, the only person I've killed is that one person I had to kill with Rancor. Everybody else is just like, no, I made you all scream 30 times, and then they started picking up on, okay, yeah, so he's just farming. He's chasing us, and we're playing chase. I'm babbling on, continuing on. And I guess the important thing to note is this means I'm nowhere near done playing Dead by Daylight. Again, my main goal is I specifically want to play as Cheryl Mason, but I definitely want to have certain perks unlocked. And my progress there is I've fully leveled up Bill to get the 3 perks from him, the first 2 perks from David, all 3 perks from Feng Ming. She's not the most metagaming stuff, but her perks give fun opportunities, and Kate's actually combines pretty well with that, so I'm getting Kate up there. She's somewhere above 30, and I think at 35, that's when I switch to the next survivor. And, I'll have a couple more survivors I definitely want to level up a little bit. Probably, I think the 3 I have in mind are probably Dwight. Just because Prove Thyself is a blood point stacking thing, and probably I want to get Ace's aura expanding one, and I also want to get Leon's flash grenade, because that just looks stupid and fun. And while there's other ones I want, I suspect I don't have to worry as much about those yet. Maybe I'll get those, I think it's Jake perks, Iron Will, and the one that allows me to sabotage hooks. But then again, I can just use him for the sabotage hooks, so maybe I would just want Iron Will from him so I don't sound like a squeaky bitch whenever I'm injured. Because the killers can find you really easily. Basically, I'm trying not to go completely metagame, so while I do have Dead Hard, I think I'd rather use a different exhaustion perk like Head-On or Lithe. Not a big fan of Sprint Burst because I like to do a lot of random running, so I'll have to make decisions. We're Gonna Live Forever and Borrowed Time are good, although Borrowed Time is one of the meta perks. But maybe I'll be able to not use that if I use like Kindred with We're Gonna Live Forever, and maybe Babysitter, which will be turned to Guardian. And so I won't have to focus on getting Guardian because, well, I won't have to focus on unlocking it because it'll become a common perk after November something. But yeah, I just want to play with stuff, and I want to do it on Cheryl Mason, especially since, I think they're confirming that there's in-game resources being created that would allow her to look like James Sunderland. So James Sunderland skin from Silent Hill 2. Which would be really great. And yes, that does mean that both my Survivor and Killer mains will be Silent Hills. But, I'm fine with that. And in my family, I'm the Silent Hill guy. I think my brother Joe tried to play it at a group thing one Halloween, but, they were laughing, and I was like, why are you laughing? I want to get really into this. This is actually kind of cool. But they were joking about other stuff. Sometimes, you get groups of people together, and not everybody focuses on the thing at hand. But I loved Silent Hill. I loved Silent Hill 2. I loved Silent Hill 3. Although Silent Hill 3 was definitely a bit weaker in some ways. Not necessarily bad, but it wasn't scary like the first one, and actually the second one was scary too, but it wasn't as mental as the second one, I guess. Silent Hill 4, you know, I actually think that's a really good game. I don't think I like the way its endgame starts going, but I also don't know that I can consider it a Silent Hill game because it was originally designed not to be, and at some point it did become. Now, if it was the people that were working on Silent Hill that made it into that kind of legitimizes it, but at the same time it means it wasn't necessarily built from the ground up to be that. So, for me, the core of Silent Hill is the first two games, with the third one hanging on the side, but being pretty good, which is why I want Cheryl Mason, because it's Heather Mason from Silent Hill 3, but also Lisa Garland or Sybil Bennett from Silent Hill 1, or Alessa Gillespie, also from Silent Hill 1. You know, really, you got good skins for her. Really good skins. And I have them all, because I'm crazy. I don't know. I don't remember how much of this stuff I've already said before, but I don't know. I guess I can't think of anything else to really talk about. So, y'all, have a nice week.